Well, good evening and welcome, and want to thank you so much for joining me this evening, this lovely Thursday evening, Thursday the 17th of April. Uh, Good Friday tomorrow. For those in the UK, got a little break and rest period from tomorrow and up to Monday. Some who are saying, "Oh my days, I missed out a couple days," or take advantage of those couple days and really spend some time and just really chill and to recalibrate and to get back on the track, Jack, for the next rest of the period. Well, today is the Thursday, and there's so many. I keep saying this all the while, but it's like a broken recorded tape. But it's the same thing. There's so many different things which are in the news, and if I'm to think about today, uh, what should I say? Um, what is your news? Thank you for those joining me on TikTok, those joining me on Facebook, and those joining me on YouTube. Okay, remember to like and subscribe. Remember to share the video. Every Wednesday night, I come on here, and every Wednesday night, I look at some of the top news that we may see around us today and to give a perspective and a reaction to it. There have been some very big news. These are very big news. Thank you for liking. And one of the big news is a woman. And unfortunately, I should have had a woman tonight on the show. You know, to get my wife, or maybe get Gary's wife to come on, or something like that, or maybe get a lady to come on, talk about what is a woman. My days, let me look at it. I need Gary. I'm gonna bring you in, man. I like that. I like that. Hey, man. Listen, we're in New York, man. We're in the big. We're in the big.
Yes, my brother. We're in New York City.
well, we're in Trump land today. We're in Trump land today.
How are you?
Gary, how are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, good. Well, listen, as I was saying a while ago, that there's so many different breaking things which are happening. I think I wanted to get my dark shade like yours. I like your sort of the look that you have there. I was trying to get it to look almost similar to that, but what can I say? By the way, first of all, how is Birmingham?
Yeah, well, well,
Actually, somebody said good afternoon from New York City. So we got a real person in New York there, and see us as so Milverton. Are we fake here? Are we fake? We're fake from London. Milverton, welcome. Thank you. Yeah, how is Birmingham there? Yeah. Gary, sorry. Yeah.
I think Birmingham is doing okay. I mean, there is a problem there. I mean, a
Yeah.
problem where the rubbish hasn't been picked up for quite probably about 2 months now. I would have thought. I think. Not too
Yeah.
sure. But if I remember, I think was it the latter part of last weekend or the beginning of this week
Yes.
where the unions and the leader of the Birmingham Council they
Yes.
sat to have some kind of meeting, but still there wasn't any
Resolution.
resolution at all to it.
Mm.
So I don't know how far it's going to go. I mean, there there are reports that there are rats as big as cats.
That's as big as cat. Wow.
You know,
Wow.
and the rubbish is really piling up in some areas of Birmingham. So, things are not pleasant. I wouldn't say things are okay. If I did say things are okay, well, probably I'm wrong. I'll be very
Yes.
rubbish on the streets of their homes or things like that. So it's not pleasant. I don't think it's a good thing for residents of Birmingham, at least,
Yeah.
to be
And
facing.
and of course, one of the very disappointing thing with these is that an average taxpayer, they don't really care too much in a sense. Oh, and I say care, they just want to make sure that what they're paying for, they're getting it, getting the garbages going away, getting the roads clean, and all those sort of things, the basic amenities they are looking for. And I understand that council tax rise. There's a rise in council tax in Birmingham as well.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
I mean,
All over
there
the
was a
country.
rise. There was a rise of council tax. I think across the board in England.
Yes, yes, that is correct. Because in London here it is, not New York,
So
just for the record.
it's so things are not, things are not pretty. I mean, I think that uh, the 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 pressures before Trump's tariffs came in is coming into effect, and I dare say that the tariffs, however small it may be for the UK, I know in some areas or in some countries the effects may be far greater, but I do believe that the effects of what Trump has put in place, even if it's against the UK, will also be felt in weeks or months to come. So things are not all that easy at all. Will never be easy.
Yes, yes, yeah. Well, it's a new. I wouldn't say it's in a new world order, but it's how things are happening now. But one of the first things that I wanted to talk about within the short space of time that we have is about, and I said it before you came on a while ago, that what is a woman? Who is a woman? And as both of us as married men, it is so very interesting that today there's a dispute or question as to who is and what is a woman. And I look at the sense of the moral authority. Yeah, because there's also the other bit about assisted dying, because the lady who had actually supported her husband to pass away recently, some time ago, with the bill. You're talking about assisted person helping people to die. People are questioning about who is a woman, what is a woman. How does that fit in today? Like we have to ask ourselves the question: what is what is God saying about this? you know,
Well, I
we,
think what you asked a question right this few moments ago. What is God
mm,
saying about this?
mm,
Well, I don't think we need to ask that. God has already said. I think God has said and has spoken of who a woman is, or he made male and female.
yes,
You know, Adam, man, male, and he took from Adam's rib, um, from Adam a rib, which he fashioned into a woman, Eve,
mm,
and Eve is, some theologians have placed it to in this sense. I said it like this: that a woman is a man, but is also she is
mm,
the one that carries the seed.
yes,
Man is not the one that carries that. The man is not the one that carries um, the child. It is a woman, the womb of a woman, that carries the seed. So
yes,
um, God has already spoken.
mm,
God has already set in place who the man is, who the woman is, who the male and who female it is. If God is going to say anything at all, I don't
mm,
think it'd be anything to to sit down and argue or to agree with, let us say, what the judge says, Supreme Court. I mean,
yeah,
look at that. Look how look where it's gone to
mm,
decide or who is a woman and who is a man, or what a woman is. Do you understand what I'm saying here?
yes, yes,
You know,
yes,
it's come down for a judge to pass that a woman is defined as one who is biologically born.
Mm.
Now, I
Because what?
don't see that.
Mm.
To me, I think that is
The the
that's
the, ru-
to
the, the
see.
the rule is that the judge ruled that women were not limited to biological or birth sex. Evans they were launched an unsuccessful appeal in 2023. The case was then heard at the Scottish Court of Session several times as the group sought to clarify how to correctly interpret the term woman as enshrined in the Equality Act.
But
Now,
that's a isn't that what the judge says in Scotland? Because
yeah,
the judge in the UK, the Supreme Judge,
mm,
if I'm not well,
yes,
probably my understanding is a little screwed at the moment. But isn't what the judge in England, the Supreme Judge, says
it's biological.
that yes, biological, and that is what it's gone against, in my understanding, what the judge in Scotland has said.
Mm. Well, I was going in the Bible because you have different books, you have different law books, and the Bible says he made man, the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden, and God commanded the man, said God said it's not good for the man to be alone,
Right,
and make a
right.
helper suitable for him,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man and brought her to the man. The man said, this is not bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. You see, this is where many people sometimes bring it. Well, the woman come out of man. Because even a very esteemed MP of a Caribbean background actually even said when when people are born, they're born sexless. Gary,
Who said that?
I don't want to say who said it,
Okay.
because I say it's alleged that she said it because it has been going around.
What kind of statement is that? I mean, what is that?
Yeah.
You know, when a babe, I've been, or I mean, when I look at it like this,
Mm,
I have four children, three girls and one boy, and I
mm,
have been present, just like many other men. I'm just stating a fact here.
yes.
Um, I was present at every one of
Birth.
my children's birth. I
Mm,
was there. And when my first child, which is a daughter, a girl, when she was born, she wasn't nobody. I didn't have to look at her or the nurses or the doctors. Let me say the nurses who were there,
mm,
um, at the birth. Also, when she was born, nobody had to wonder. There wasn't anybody wondering or thinking or studying to say is she a girl or is she a
mm,
boy. It, there
mm,
was no question. There was no debate. There was no wondering. So how can
yeah.
anybody say that when a child is born, then it's sexless to the point that it's as they after a few days or a few hours, then it's determined that a girl has been born or a boy has been born. I mean, what
Mm.
kind of statement is that?
It's funny.
That
A
to
friend
me,
of, yeah.
that is uneducated, somebody who's uneducated.
Well, it's funny because today a friend of mine, her children said she had to buy, I think, some Oreo if the child which she's pregnant with is going to be a boy, and she got to buy something more expensive if it's a girl. And I said to her, well, he's going to be okay. And I said, I said he. That means to say it's going to be a boy. I said he. He just dropped out of my mouth. And she called me and said, it's a he. She called me and said the child is going to be a he. And you see, after years of argument and dispute about the meaning of this gender they said the watchword of the Wednesday Supreme Court ruling has to be clear. Equality law has been made clear with the unambiguous statement that the term woman refers to a biological woman and does not include biological men who identify as women. So what they wanted to do was to enlarge the whole aspect of woman. And if that happened, Gary, they would have to enlarge as well the aspect of men. You see what I'm trying to say? But what the courts had said as well, well, you persons are also protected. And they say it's a victory for common sense, according to chairwoman of the Equality and Human Rights Commission. Baroness Fackler added, if a male is allowed to use a woman-only service, it isn't any longer a single-sex space. So you see, there are lots of, and now there are going to be lots of. I Keisha, I think Keisha and Kay is here. Remember Keisha? Keisha is here. Keisha says hello, hello. Keisha say hello, Garry, yeah, and Sylvia.
All right,
Yeah,
Isha.
yeah. So you see what is happening. It's a very interesting ruling. It's a very interesting ruling. Unfortunately, it's got to be a ruling. It's an interesting ruling, but unfortunately, it's got to be a ruling. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's a ruling, but unfortunately, it's a ruling. Why should it have been a ruling in the first place? Yeah, and
I
that's
mean,
the thing.
and I mean, I was listening to the news earlier on this evening, and it came across. It was said that if in the police, if a trans woman was arrested, then what they would then do is they would allow only only the male officers. The male officers would search the trans woman, because as it was before, what before the judge spoke is that if a trans woman was arrested, taken into police custody, and they had to search, because they are trans women, a woman would have to search them, not male.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
because obviously, um, in the past, in the recent past, it has been said, hasn't it not, that that whatever you say you are, that's who you are. So if
Yeah.
I got
Whatever.
up,
Yeah.
if I got up and went into and wanted to use a female toilet, and I said I'm a woman, then nobody could
Question that.
question that. But since this judge now has said what he said, then obviously I can't do that, because I am male. I'm a
Yeah.
male. And so if I was arrested by police, whether male or female, and I went and I was taken into custody, and
Yeah.
I had to be searched, what they're saying is that because I am a man, probably declaring I'm a woman, it is the male officers
Yes.
would search me.
I think it really confuses and it will confuse a lot of young people growing up, because what it says, what does the ruling means in practice? It's a public bodies from the NHS and prisons to sports club and business will already be reviewing their policies. Women's toilets, changing room, and other single sex spaces will be for biological women only. I think I saw a video once where a man sent his daughter into the toilet and he waited outside. And then he saw like a big man went in there and he got really worried. And then he couldn't see his daughter coming out. And he was waiting for a long time and he just went in there. But of course, child was okay. But the point about it is that a lot of persons are very concerned and very cautious about that. Because in theory, that means a transgender man or woman should use facilities that correspond to their biological sex. You know, or it is likely to present other difficulties as the persons will be presenting as a gender identified to the outside world. So it is a very interesting ruling, and of course, I'm hearing of appeal going to be made. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to hear what you say about this. And of course, person will will say it's a um, but at the same time, it is an opportunity to
So
really
I
look at the world. There, I'm freezing. Yeah,
still, are you having
am I
problems?
freezing there?
Yeah, yeah. Is it me or is it you? I don't know if Sil is still online. There seems to be some technical problems here. Um, and if I am live and the only one on it at the moment, I'm thinking that, well, we are facing some very difficult times, facing some very difficult situations in our world and in this country. And it would seem that we just need to hold the fort. We just need to be quite clear and I believe quite plain in what we believe. Now, it may seem as if there's few of us in this country or a few in the world that still believes in male and female, and there isn't a third or fourth gender in which we're having to deal with. But we've got to believe, we have to believe that there is just the male and the female. The Bible, which is for many of us, and yes, I know that there are again hundreds and thousands of others who do not believe in the Bible. They don't. They do not believe in God. Quite aware of that, and I think we will have to understand the perspective of such individuals. But I believe that apart from that, we need to believe in. I need to stand on what I believe on, which is the Bible, the Word of God.
Am I back, Gary?
Yes, you're back.
Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you. What happened?
I have no idea what happened there, but I had to do a reset and come back. Okay. Am I? Is it clear? Is it clear?
It is.
It is clear. Okay. Well, what can I say? Yes. Where were we? Where are we again? Yeah. So we're talking about this whole thing. But anyway, as I said, it's a very interesting period, and it's a very interesting time in regards to this whole in regards to this whole ruling. But let's move over to another ruling. Another ruling which has been very interesting is about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, with his policies, have actually, they said, in his batch of deportation in Salvador, I think there's a man in that batch who apparently should not have been in there in that batch, and they're now trying to get him to come back to the United States of America. They're maintaining that he's M13, MI3 or something like that, one of these terrorist group or so. But it is very interesting though that the courts, it's like someone saying the courts is trying to run America when actually the president is the president of America. But at the same time, the president has to the government has got to operate in concert also with the court, because there are different arms of government. The judicial system is one, the executive, and also the houses. That's all bring up. So therefore, there's got to be these sort of checks and balances, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, and this sort of, so it is like Trump is, they're saying he's creating chaos in America. But is it good chaos or bad chaos? I know we talk about Trump for every Tom, Dick, and Harry every time we talk about Trump, you know what I mean? But I think it is very important at this time, in light of what is happening, because Trump is one person that did say something. He said something when he got elected. He said, there's only male and female. You remember that? Only male and female. Those were his pronounced words, which many people got upset by, but he made it that defined position for common sense to come back to America. But the question is, can he and is he overstepping his authority by ignoring the courts? But what the court is trying to say, they want to somehow get to have an understanding of this sort of deportation, the people that is being deported to El Salvador. And the president was there recently. The guy has actually turned El Salvador into a very, what should I say, safe country than what it was before.
I mean, you see, are they doing, or are they saying what about Trump because it's Trump? Because if it was Obama, have you seen something that Obama was trending on Facebook some days or probably a week ago? Don't know when it was done or when he said it anyway. But I heard when he said if it was him who did what Trump did, it would have been uproar. Now the thing about it, if he did what Trump is doing now in regards to this guy, if he did it, would anything have been said? If you understand what I'm saying, or if Biden did what Trump did in regards to this, in regards to this fella, would there have been uproar? Obviously,
you know what? I know. To be honest with you, I don't think there would have been such massive uproar.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. There's uproar because it's Trump, because of what he's doing. There's a lot that Trump has said. I mean, look at the very, as I did make mention of it when in his inauguration speech, when he said that there's only male and female. Now, there's no president that has ever come out and said that point blank. It's a wonder at that point that nothing was said, that none of the LGBTQI alphabet soup said anything. It's a wonder. But yet, he said it. But obviously now, I believe, because I think they were stunned. They were stunned at the statement. So, when somebody is stunned and they can't react, they don't react straight away. Yes. But obviously now, some backlash that is happening at this moment in time. So, in relation to this guy that he obviously, there seems to be some credible sources to say that he was a part of a gang. It's a very famous gang. I mean, it's a gang that probably anybody that knows what's going on in America knows very much that this gang is fair. It's a very fair group. He's got tattoos, they said, all over his body, which depicts tattoos that are found on this particular group.
Yeah.
You see, there's also records of him, beating on his wife and such, even though the wife wants him back and such. But probably, is she doing that because she's fearful for her own life? because if
Yeah.
she doesn't stick up for him, then who knows what can happen to her. But the resources or the sources seem to be credible, and so I don't know. I don't know. Something needs to happen. I wish to some extent. I'm not saying in this particular case around the world and in every country.
Yes.
There may be some, some very credible things that people, that's all they're used to. This guy, from the moment he was born, that's all he knew, and he grew up in El Salvador doing that kind of stuff. So there are people who are born in situations they don't know any better until they come out of that, they escape of that, go to a new place. They may have gotten there illegally, like this young man, and try to change their ways and all of that. So all of that could always be in the mix.
It's interesting. Go on.
But I wish still that we had leaders to some extent. Not in everything that Trump is doing is kosher. I'm not saying that, but there's some things that I think that the heads of government, and there's some things in that Keir Starmer could also do that could show some kind of strength and stamina.
Well, listen, the U.S. judge has given President Donald Trump a week deadline to comply with his court order or risk being found in contempt of court. Now, knowing Donald Trump, no, I don't know Donald Trump, but knowing the Trump that I know, he's going to push that boundary. He's going to push that. Because the guy's saying if he doesn't comply, contempt of court. Now, what will happen next, Gary? Are they going to bring the president into court and charge him, subpoena him, potentially setting up a historic clash between two equally powerful branches of government? And that's not really good. Branches of government against themselves. Judge James Bosberg said the most obvious way for the officials to avoid contempt was to assert custody over a group of more than 200 people who they deported to El Salvador last month after he told them not to do so. Now, this is very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. This is very interesting because Donald Trump was voted in by a massive segment of the United States population. He's got the mandate. And I think at one of the press briefing recently, one of the ladies whose daughter, I think, got raped and killed, she spoke. And he said these are the things that he's going to be doing. Now, if he's the president, and if these are the things that he's got mandated to do based on his manifesto and what he campaigned on, and now the court is actually telling him that he can't do it or not the way he's doing it, that's going to be some serious clash. And that is going to be where the massive amount of Americans we're going to see how it's going to unfold. But at the same time, the president is not above the law. And I always say this all the while, that the president is subject to the presidency. Yeah, the president is subject to the presidency. And therefore, he's got to operate within the confines of the law. That doesn't mean to say that he can't do whatever he wants, So the White House anyhow denies any wrongdoing and has depicted the group as terrorists and criminal illegal immigrants who threaten American society. And what they did, the 1798 Aliens Enemy Act gave the Trump administration power to expedite. So that's where they're going to operate from. The act, operating within the confines of the act. It deportation of those it said were gang members without providing any evidence. That's going to be an interesting, I'm going to call it, that's going to be a showdown. I don't know if I should say okay, Coral, but that's going to be a showdown on maybe Fifth Avenue or wherever like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You see, who really is going to take a stand against, let's say, crime, against corruption, against violence. You know,
Mm.
you know who is really? It's like in our country. You know, when we know that individuals have when we know individuals have come into this country, we do know their you know, their crime sheet, but yet we
Mm.
still allow them to come here. They commit crime, they're imprisoned, we let them out. I mean, well, we let them out, and then to some extent, um, we've got people out there that then um, what's the word? They then are
Menace to society.
yes, but when they're then wanting to be deported or whatever, we have groups out there that say, that then begin to say that, you know, if they're sent back, this is going to happen, that is going to happen, and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's
Mm.
just sad. It's just sad that these things will happen. Yet we've got people out there that will campaign to keep them
Yes.
and to allow them into society, but yet they go out there and they commit crimes again. So there has to be someone who will
Mm.
stand and mean what they say and say what they mean and act on that. And we see, I'm not, again, I'm not sticking up for what Donald Trump seems to be doing across the board now. But there's one thing about Mr. Trump, and that is whatever he has campaigned that he will do, he's doing it.
You're doing it.
He
And
does it.
and as somebody say, he doesn't care one hoot. He's just operating within the confines of the parameters of his
He's
victory.
he's a man of strength. It doesn't. I mean, I know that he's you know, he's a man that's been convicted of how many felons and all of that. I know that. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. But yet, the principle. I'm talking about the principle now, and people say he has no principle. Okay, I will agree with that also. But the principle here is that whatever he campaigned on what he would do, he's doing it.
Yes.
He's doing it.
Some
Keir Starmer, he campaigned on several issues also, and has he done it? Don't even talk about the Trump effect or the Trump um, um, tariffs. I'm not talking about it before that. He has gone back and everything, and then he's even blaming the Conservative Party for things that, you know. I'm not saying that the Conservative Party is not is innocent of everything. No, I would never say that. That's not true. But at the same time, you can't go around blaming somebody for every single iota. You can't do that.
yes. And somebody on and mentioned that the Supreme Court has already given a carte blanche freedom to do what he wants in the role as a president. Um, well, I'm not going to say I agree with that totally. To do what in the role, I don't think he can do everything. I don't think a president is still subject to the presidency, and he still has to operate within the confines of the law at the same time. I don't think the president is a person that can just get up and go outside and shot somebody and everybody supports him. You know, he's got to operate within a certain parameter. And I've always said that the president is subject to the presidency. And that is why you got the articles of impeachment. That's why I got these roles whereby one can actually be impeached. And just like when I was at the Jamaica High Commission on Tuesday, and when I asked the minister about why the articles of impeachment is not in the constitutional reform, one of the reasons why it is not is because they have looked around and they have seen how it operates in America, and because in America it is so divisive, they say, "Oh, that's not the good thing for Jamaica." And I found that like a slight cop out, because just because America do it that way
That doesn't mean to say we got to do it that way as well.
Exactly.
Impeachment is if, and recall is if a leader is going beyond the scope of his power. It's just like in Jamaica, whereby an MP apparently bludgeon or use a stool and clot his. I'm going to use the Jamaican term and clot his woman, and the guy is still in Parliament.
So I mean,
Well,
the, the,
hold on.
the woman is dead.
Let me just clarify. No, the woman is they actually got married, but let me just clarify the whole thing. Anybody that brings it up, say, "Are you sure it is him? Did you see it properly?" And then I said, and then, but guess what? But then guess what? But the party which he's a part of actually took the whip from him. Took the whip from him, and he had to sit as an independent. So I said, but hang on a second. Then why did they make him an independent then, if it wasn't him? They all playing the games. So with the article of impeachment and recall now, a person like that would never able sit being there now. Just like how in the UK, that MP who clot his constituents, you remember that guy there? That MP, he's out. I'm trying to say. So you see, the level of accountability must be dealt with, and no matter just because America do it that way or another country do it that way, no, you've got to bring these things to the book. So therefore, President Trump is not out of the woods in the sense that he's untouchable. No president or no person is going to be untouchable, and all of them are ganging for him. Gavin, whatever the governor for California, I think he's setting himself up, to run. Apparently, is peed off because that California is deemed to be one of the fifth strongest economy next to the UK, fifth or sixth or so like that.
California. Yeah, it's a very powerful state. California is a very powerful state.
Yeah. So that's a very interesting developments there. Now the bit about this, what do you call it? This bit about this assisted dying. That's another one there. And I was looking at something earlier. I was looking at the bill, and I think it's gone past the third reading, and I think it's in a particular stage now, whereby they are looking to see where it's to be legalized. I think one of the ladies were speaking earlier, and I think she assisted her husband in dying by getting him to go to, I forget which country they went to, and they asked her the question, did she have any regrets, and she said she don't know really, at the same time. But I believe, I don't know, it's a very tricky one. That is where the morality and the law clashes. And that's where you ask the question, what would God do? What is the word of God that says, thou shalt not kill?
That's what the word of God says. I mean, we have to. I don't know, Sil. It's a difficult one. I think it's a difficult one when we know that there are individuals who are in pain, constant pain.
Yeah.
Great difficulties are happening that people that we may not know. We just don't know. We just don't know how some people are living.
Yes.
Yet there was one, I think it was a documentary or given some time back about an individual who there was nothing wrong with him. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the guy, but yet he wanted to die.
Just like that.
And he died. He went to the place where you could get assisted living or assisted dying, and he died. But he was not in any illness. He just didn't want to live. What do you then do? I mean, how can you how can you? It's like you are legalizing death, and I just don't know. I just don't know. That's why as a Christian,
Mm.
that's why as a Christian, we speak about. We hear of the account of the Bible where Christ went from house to house, or he went into certain villages, towns, or cities, and he healed people. We hear of that. And as a Christian, I believe in healing.
Mm.
However, I'm not into the showmanship of what we are seeing in our world today, in the Christian world, where we have particular men and women who are having great big meetings. They're getting wealthy off it in one sense, but they're also going from town to town, from city to city, from country to country, declaring that they are healers, and in the most recent years, some of these big evangelists have had to, they're not as prominent as today. Why? Because it was all lies, really. They had plans within the congregation or within the crowd that would declare that they had this or they had that, and when he prayed for them, they are well. I'm not, again, there may have been, I don't know the proportion or the percentage, but there may have been some who have been healed. I would never disregard that. However, the healing wasn't from the preacher. The healing is of God. And I do believe that there is coming a time. There is coming a time, and I'm hoping it will come sooner rather than later. That those of our society that are really contemplating, of taking their lives, really ending their lives because they don't want to suffer. They don't want their sickness to get to the stage where they suffer, because obviously they have seen the end results in others, and they just don't want that. I'm looking forward to the time when, we will see genuine healings. People who are Christians who believe in God and are living the life, and they don't have to have leaflets or foghorn or have televised meetings or whatever it is. Jesus, when he was on the earth here, he did not have what we have. He didn't have the setup like what our world has today. But the Bible says wherever he went, he was doing good.
Yeah, healing. So what you're actually saying is that people who are adamant in wanting to die or to meet their maker. There's something that the Prime Minister of Jamaica said all the while. There are two things you can do if you're a bad man. You can either meet the judge or meet your maker, because the police will come after you, But until about 6 months ago, I was reading something. It would have been hard to find a more inoffensive politician than the Labour backbencher Kim Leadbitter, a well-liked, upbeat, down-to-earth Yorkshire woman. She entered politics because of a personal tragedy, the murder of her sister, the MP Joe Cox. You remember Joe Cox there? Yeah.
Yes.
In 2016, when I asked on a Spectator podcast, what was the worst piece of advice she'd ever read? Leadbitter half joke. Have you thought about being an MP? Now, the whole bit with this private members bill that she brought up about the assisted suicide bit, I'll tell you where it's tracked now. It is tracking in the Parliament. It has gone to the first reading, the second reading, the committee stage, and now it's at the report stage. It starts at the House of Commons, then it's going to go to the House of Law, then go to final stages. But what some are actually saying that, how did we end up here 6 months after Leadbitter launched terminal ill adults end of life bill, A group of Labour MPs have pronounced it irredeemable, flawed, and not fit to become law. It's becoming beyond a joke, according to the Tory MP Lord John Lamont. Leadbeater bill has been hectically rushed, then frantically delayed, and somewhere along the way has lost its best safeguard, the inclusion of a High Court judge. So you see, so the country, in a way, is going through these phases, these stages, Garry. Soul searching. It's like it's also, if you're not careful, losing its compass, its moral, spiritual compass. And that is the reason why. Somebody just came on the live and said, let me block you. Michelle Bernard. What is this? Is it a man or a man too? Or a man? Let me block you. I can imagine someone come onto your program and say, let me block you. That doesn't make sense. Oh, this is a person that chose me. Oh, this is a person that chose me. I just realized who it is. Garry, every time I write something in the papers, this guy, I don't know if it's a man or a woman or a man too or whatever like that. He keep following back on me. And I said to the person, stop following back on me. So he said,
so who's that? Do you know him?
I don't know who the person is. But apparently they've come onto my program now and say, let me block you. And I'm saying, this is the whole thing about social media and all these other things. You got persons who, it's like them now, I'm not for do. Can you imagine? I'm having this program and then this person come onto this program to say, let me block you. Duh. But anyway, as I was saying, Garry, it is a very interesting period, a very interesting time now. And I must say this. A young boy died in the park where I walk. You know the park where I walk there, Beckenham Place Park. Apparently he jumped over into the river and he died. Bless his soul. Isaiah Smith, his name is. I posted on my TikTok page a clip of me walking and speaking to a couple of the young people that I'm looking at the flowers. I'm playing a sad music and said, may he rest in peace. Now, somebody wrote this, Garry. Somebody wrote this. May he rest in peace, whether he is in heaven or hell. Now, that created a discussion. I've not touched this. I've not said anything on the page. I'm not commented. I'm just watching it. And you can see the thinking of people of the afterlife. People are not sure what's happening. And that is why I believe when you had the lockdown period and the COVID bit was going on, what I sensed was a lot of the reason why a lot of people feared death was because they weren't sure of where they are going to go, fear of the unknown. And I while walking in the park one time, I said, I got my will and everything, and I said, listen, we've got to know where we're going to go. God has created the heaven and the earth. Of course, one is not going to push that down someone's throat, at the same time. But if you're not sure, that's where you're going to have fear. You don't know where you're going to go. And it's very interesting, those comments from a lot of these young people on that particular post. It's on TikTok.
Yeah. That is sad. I mean, that is where we are at the moment. People are not, how can I say? They're not sure of where their eternal home is going to be.
Yes.
They're very unsure. And sadly, Christianity, there are choices. There's Christianity, there is Islam, there is, or being a Muslim, a Buddhist. There are various other forms of religion.
Yes.
Yeah. And every religion that there is, and there are followers, they will always say that they are the true religion. Every religion will say that of themselves.
Yes.
The Christian religion, though, that we are a part of, that and let me talk for myself. I know where you are. I know you are also, Sydial, but for me, let me just talk for me.
Mm.
The Christian religion that I've been brought up in,
Yes.
it hasn't had the effect that it should have, especially in the lives of our children's generation and the generation after. Our friends of our age group, many of them have been disillusioned because of how others have lived their Christian lives,
Yes.
of what they have seen in the world of Christianity. So some just have
Mm.
lost faith. Some have
Mm.
just lost, that principle of Christian. I mean, they saw it in their mother, they saw it in their father. They
Yeah.
would never deny that. They would never deny that. However, when it comes when their parents have died and it's just them now and they're being left to live their lives, some of them are in good jobs, they are comfortable.
Yeah.
They may not be in so good a job, but they're still happy. But yet their Christianity, that principle and the lifestyle of being a Christian, they've had to question
Mm.
because they're not seeing it in the life of others, neither in those who speak of being a Christian.
Yes.
So just on that alone, they then doubt. They then begin to doubt on their eternal existence.
Mm.
They then begin even to doubt if there is a God. Because if there is a God, then why is he allowing this? Why is he allowing sickness, illness, disease? Why does he allow wars to happen? And these are
Mm.
questions that probably, if they were still Christians, they wouldn't ask, in a sense. Or if they hadn't gone through what they have gone through in order
Yeah.
to affect their worldview, then they wouldn't be asking such questions. So
Yes.
being a Christian, and those within the Christian world, we really need to take stock. We do need to take stock of our lives and our living. We do need to be careful how we live, and live takes in our conversations, what we find time doing, what we immerse ourselves in doing, because they do affect people's outview of whether they would want to be a Christian or not in order to have eternal life. Because there are
Mm.
people, Sylbourne, as you know, who will say and who believe that, hey, listen, I don't have to do anything in order to get to heaven. We're all going to heaven. There's no hell, you know.
Yeah.
So if there's no hell at all, then for me, am I, what I have done in the last 62 years of my life, 61, 62 years of my life, is it a waste of time for me? Because I might as well just go ahead and rob a bank. I might as well just go ahead and commit murder, commit
Mm.
adultery, commit fornication, do what I want, smoke till I'm blue in the face, take as much drugs, cocaine, and
Mm.
marijuana. I might as well just do all of them things because I'm going to heaven anyway. But then again, that can't be right, is it? That cannot be
Mm.
right.
Because
So
it's gonna be like a freestyle, just whatever you want to do. Just
yeah,
live
yeah.
your life as you feel it. No sort of moral compass, no sort of guidance, no sort of laws. Just like how you've got the law books, and you got in the UK, of course, it's unwritten constitution. In Jamaica is a codified written constitution. The Bible also sets out a sort of guideline as to how one should be. But I believe it's a trial in time now, and a lot of people are going to be having soul searching. Um, Talks about lots of things which are to be happening in the world, the advent of Trump, what's happening in the EU. The other day, apparently, the US averted Israel from bombing some nuclear place in Iran. And if that happened, things have gotten a bit, there's a lot of things happening behind the scene, Gary, that we don't know and that we hear bit by bit, But listen, well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining tonight, Gary. But listen, Gary, I've been very adamant on my quest in this whole thing about civics. Just when I said the other day I'm going to do it, and so far I've had three shows on it already. I had one with Miss Joanne Simpson, author publisher of a book called Civics. There's her picture there, and her bit was setting the stage. The second discussion that I had was with Mr. Matunda McCullough, Civics and Citizenship, Masterclass on Civics. And the third one, which I'm going to be having this Saturday night, that is going to be with Miss Professor Rosalie Hamilton. I just realized I did a flyer, I didn't put her name there. Professor Rosalie Hamilton, Civics and Constitution, episode 3. Civics and Constitution, and she's going to talk about the whole aspect of the Constitution and civics and do a class on it. I did, while I was at the Jamaica High Commission, met up with the Minister Malahoo Fort, and I invited her to come on and do a class as well, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, talk about civics and the responsibility of understanding these aspects of governance and focusing on the constitutional reform. And I believe the whole issue is why, And further down the road, I'm planning to have Miss Jeanette Calder. She is the executive officer of JAMP, the Jamaica Measuring Portal. She's going to be joining me and do a session on May the 4th. And I also have Mr. Simon Woolley, Lord Simon Woolley from the UK here, president of, is it Oxford or one of the Cambridge College University? He's going to be coming on and do a session on it. And I've got a few other persons. Maybe I should have you to do civics and the Lord, So I'm very adamant on that. So ladies and gentlemen, do tell people about this Saturday night at 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 4 p.m. Jam time. I think I got mixed up with Michelle and my timing last week because I forgot that Jamaica, the UK time changed. Remember, our time changed recently, and I think she came on based on my flyer was wrong, on that. So that's what's going to happen, keeping the momentum on the whole constitution reform. But one of the things that she did say, though, which was really good, is that it is highly likely that it's going to happen at this part of Parliament, or not going to happen before the election, because election is due in September, but it could be coming after that, if anything. So here we go. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight and joining myself and Sir Garry as we hail from the, Garry is, as you can see, he's somewhere in where is he? In New York? Where is Garry? Where are you? He's in, there is in the big A, and I'm on the, where am I? The big somewhere as well, in whole bits there. People sometimes say, where are you? I'd be like Mr. Corey Hyde. I'm on the internet. So where are you in the world? I'm on the internet. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good night, and see you Saturday night. And look out for my different videos on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, and my Walk and Talk motivational moments. Remember to get inspired in taking care of your health. Health is your wealth. Make sure, gentlemen, you do your PSA, you do your check for diabetes, prostate, and all those different things which are very important. Okay, so God bless you and have a good night.